Hello everyone, and welcome to the final ISTL Wrap-Up for Season 3. My name is Shalthus from the GKIC Network at gkic.net, and this is the final recap of the third place and grand finals matches. Unfortunately, due to video issues, I was unable to capture any quality video footage of the finals, but feel free to sit back and listen in as we give you the finals wrap-up the old podcast way. Of course, you can watch the final matches, the third place and the grand finals matches, at twitch.tv/impulse. Those VODs are up right now. So to start things off, we had our third place match with pit Team My Intent up against Team Property. Starting things off, Bobson, a Terran from Property, took on Fiery, a Protoss from My Intent. Game 1 would see a bit of a greedy 3-base opening by Fiery, which would be blindly countered by a double drop in Fiery's natural that would successfully take out the Nexus at the expense of a few Marines. Another small drop was cleaned up quickly as Fiery pushed into Bobson's natural, forcing him to lift the orbital. A counter push by Bobson would force the Protoss player to pull back momentarily, but the shutdown of Bobson's second base would be extremely effective, and it would take a long time to reposition his natural and put him significantly behind. Fiery held a large supply lead as the game approached the 17-minute mark, as well as a major upgrade and economic lead. Bobson would build up a sizable Marine Marauder force, but the Colossi of Fiery's army would be too much to handle, and Bobson would be forced to GG. In Game 2, Fiery would move forward to take on Snuffy, a Zerg player from Team Property. Once again, Fiery opened up with an early Nexus, as Snuffy opens with a pretty standard 3-base opening that Fiery does scout out. Fiery's tech choice of a double Stargate play is also scouted out by Snuffy's Overlord. A Void Ray attack takes down Snuffy's third and shuts down Hydra production, as well as taking out the layer and effectively putting an early end to this match. Despite a bit of extra time, the Void Rays would be super effective, and a small Zealot force would shut down Snuffy's natural to end the game and put My Intent up 2-0. In an attempt to shut down the Protoss power, the Zerg player Hob heads out to try and give Property their first win. Fiery goes with a Gateway First Expand to open things up before moving into a Stargate Pressure before dropping the Fleet Beacon and Twilight Council. Fiery rolled out with the Mothership to meet Hob's Infestor Corruptor army, and key feedbacks thwarted the Infestors, and some double-pronged pressure forces Hob to GG and put My Intent up 3-0. In Game 4, Property's hopes were put squarely on the shoulders of another one of their Zerg players, Buffy. Fiery played it a bit safe by opening with some early units instead of the earlier Nexus. From there, Fiery went right into the double Stargate build, which thwarted Snuffy in Game 2. A large number of Void Rays moved in and put some pressure on as Fiery shuts down the natural and puts the Zerg player to a 2-base versus 2-base game. A big engagement happened at Buffy's natural, putting Buffy on the back foot and putting Fiery one push away from victory. With a final Void Ray Archon push, everything was shut down and Buffy GG's, completing the all-kill and awarding third place to Team My Intent, thanks to Fiery's 4-0 run. So with third place decided, it was now time for the grand finals, as defending champion Western Wolves would square off against Frost eSports, formerly known as Team Classic. Opening Game 1, Mini Razor from Western Wolves would go up against Mav from Frost in this ZVZ matchup. It wouldn't take long as an early Zergling Baneling rush by Mini Razor would force Mav to GG at the 9-minute mark and put the defending champions up 1-0. In Game 2, Frost would send out another Zerg player in Swarm to try and even things up. The two Zerg players would clash with some Lings and Banelings, but a couple solid connections gave Mini Razor enough of an advantage to deny Swarm's third once and destroy it on a follow-up push shortly thereafter. A big Muta engagement shut Swarm down due to a numbers and upgrade advantage. Another large Mutaflock push denies the third once again, shuts down a massive number of units, and ultimately forces Swarm to GG and puts Western Wolves up 2-0. Frost now turns to their Terran player Taiga to try and stop Mini Razor. Taiga starts with an early drop flanked by Hellions, but only does minimal damage before getting cleaned up. Taiga's move into mech play is identified and scouted by the Zerg player, so an early attack is turned back. Taiga's follow-up push was hurt, and a counterattack by Mini Razor was also turned back as the game was surprisingly even as both players turtled up a bit at the 19-minute mark. Attacks all over the map were tilting the game in both directions, and a massive number of Vikings and Thors would meet up with Broodlords, Queens, and Infestors, and a persistent Zerg player who would not go down quietly, and a sizable push forced Taiga to GG and put Western Wolves one win away from a possible all-kill and the ISTL Championship. Frost would need to bank everything they had on their Protoss player Depression as Mini Razor looked to end the series. Depression put some pressure on Mini Razor early and moved into a Colossus timing build while also going with an Immortal drop play to target down the lair. A bit of harassment by the Protoss player keeps Mini Razor occupied long enough for a massive Blink Stalker push to force the end of the game and hold Western Wolves off at least for one more game. Now in Game 5, Depression would need to hold off the Protoss powerhouse Starnan from Western Wolves. A great early Phoenix Stalker push came from Depression, actually managing to deny the natural and put Starnan on one base play, as well as guarding the ramp to contain him for a period. Starnan would eventually break the contain, but the hold would prove effective as the Viking Stalker play would be extremely effective and would put the series 3-2 in favor of Western Wolves. In Game 6, Western Wolves would send out one of their star Zerg players and the WCS UK Nationals champion Zictamini on the massive map Whirlwind. Depression went for some early pressure, dropping a proxy pylon at the Zerg player's third and using a small Stalker force to take it down before Zictamini could finally turn it away. A large push by Depression into Zictamini's natural would do decent damage, but a large Roach flank attack would force Depression to burn through his force fields and ultimately get shut down, forcing him to GG and awarding the game and the series to the grand champions Western Wolves for the second season in a row. So congratulations to the ISTL Season 3 champions Western Wolves on their 4-2 win, despite things looking a bit rough during the group stages. Also congratulations to Frost eSports for placing second and My Intent on their third place finish. A special thank you to everyone who has participated or sponsored the ISTL this season. I really do hope you enjoyed these wrap-up videos over the past few seasons, and don't forget Season 4, which I'm sure is going to be on the horizon soon. Be sure to follow the ISTL on Twitter at IMP_esports. You can also visit them online at impulseesports.com, and be sure to watch the ISTL live as well as other Impulse players stream at twitch.tv/impulse. Once again, I am Shalthus from the GKIC Network saying so long for the ISTL.